Hello everyone, and welcome back to this channel. My name is Ivan Vasquez from Plotted Studios, and today we are going over the Fredenstein F601A microphone preamp. Starting off with the technical information, the F601A offers a zero negative feedback, which is a design that Fredenstein made that improves the low frequency and transient responses of the source material. On top of that, it reduces the harshness that you may have when this kind of implementation of the zero negative feedback is instantiated. It helps reduce that top end and it makes everything a lot smoother. To compound this even further, the F601A has not one, but two transformers. And not only are they just regular transformers, but these are Lundell transformers. Very premium components. The input transformer is going to be the LL1578XL microphone transformer, and the output transformer is the Lundell LL1517 output transformer. These are awesome, and when you hear them later on, it's going to just be an insane, sweet sounding, everything you want in a Class A discrete microphone preamp. Now, a little less about the internals going into the external face of it. Let's start from the top going down. The top obviously shows a VU meter. This is the output level indicator, and it is a plus 4 dB at the zero position. So you always have a relative knowledge of what the signal is before you even go into your workstation. This is pretty awesome because most of these 500 series modules don't include any VUs. They don't give you any readings, and you kind of have to base it off of the interface is saying. Now this helps because you do have some frame of mind of how you should be hitting your preamp, EQ, compressor, whatever source you are using in a 500 series module. But the Gold Series Fredenstein is beautiful because it has these awesome VUs. I am a visual person, so seeing this helps me understand what I am doing on the responsive side of it. On the right side, you see the clip level indicator. This indicator is when the threshold reaches plus 24 dB, which is insane. If you're hitting plus 24, you're just obliterating any sound source, and it's just a lot. But, right before peaking, they will give you that notice. Now moving down, you'll see the gainer input knob. This is a plus 78 dB knob. It's insane. Having that much headroom allows you to do a lot. Instead of it being a stepped pot, it is just a completely fluid pot, and the setting that you leave it at is recalled by the onboard non-volatile memory. Moving on, you'll see selectable switches, and it is visually shown when you select them. The left side is the input transformer, that 1578XL. The right side is the output transformer, or the 1517. These are the selections that you have. You could either go completely transparent, bypass both transformers, have the input only, have the output only, or have both input and output selected. This gives you a wide range of options when you are using this preamp. It offers you the possibility to tailor this sound at the source before going into your workstation to get more mix-ready sounds. Moving down another notch, you have the polarity and low cut. Polarity is what you kind of hear when the snare bottom mic needs to be flipped, so that way you get the punchy snare sound if you're running a top and bottom mic. The low cut is at a 60 Hz. This helps clean up generally HVAC noise or any low rumbling that you may have. I generally will select it on most sources because you don't really need that information down there with a lot of the things. Moving down another step, you have phantom power, or what's displayed as P48. This is phantom power 48 volts. This is the industry standard when we're dealing with large diaphragm condensers, small diaphragm condensers, certain active ribbon microphones. The other switch is the low Z. This is the impedance. So right out the bat, you have 1 kilo ohm of impedance, or 1000 ohms, for this Fredenstein F601A. When you select it, it will drop it down to 300 ohms. This is because some microphones have an impedance mismatch. Think of ribbon microphones is the most common case that you would need a low Z. Moving lower, as I would say, you have a DI. This DI is just insane. It's the most clear and transparent direct input I've heard. And here's the great thing. Most of the DIs are unbalanced only, which is a tip sleeve setup on your instrument cable for guitars and bass, etc. However, here's one caveat to the F601A, is that when you do use the DI input, it bypasses the input transform because it's only meant for XLRs. If you look at the schematic for the 1578 XL, it's a microphone input only. So by having these instrument sources, it must be bypassed, which is pretty common. There is a CPU chip in here, and it's to store settings. It's a 32-bit ARM CPU, and it will recall all of the settings you had previously. So if you had the input transformer on, output transformer off, 48 power on, low cut on, high Z turned off, polarity turned off, and you turn it off. Oh, and you had the gain at 25.32 dB. Once you turn off that unit, settings will turn off. However, since it's stored on the CPU chip, when you turn it back on, it recalls that setting. Furthermore, if you have the digital bento racks, which is in a 6 rack and a 10 rack version, you'll have additional controls or parameters. This Bento 8 Pro does not have the feature I'm going to talk about, but the 6 and 10 digital versions do. This offers you to recall settings on all of the modules if you have the Fredenstein Gold series in particular. This allows you to have instant recall on about 100 or so presets. So if you have a certain signal flow chain set up and you want to ensure that it's going to be the same every single time you power it up, which is very difficult if you ask me with analog gear, it offers that recallability. And later on we'll go through that. However, just on the 601A you have that availability for recall settings. Let's go on to the more important thing, which is the sound source. We're going to go drums, bass, guitars, vocals. For the drums, since I do not have 16 of these, even though I wish I did, we just used it on a room mic. The bass and the guitar are done with the DI, and the vocals are done obviously with a large diaphragm condenser running into it. I will be as clear as possible or try to utilize as much of this as possible, but you'll see. I believe this is one of the best preamps on the market, but I'm biased because I love Fredenstein products. Let's get to it.
Blue skies, oh well, don't go away. We're gonna sit in the sun, lay back, enjoying the day. Beer in my hand, another one on the way. You tell them worries to leave and them good times to stay. Well, you bring the cups and I'll bring my bags. Oh, we got cornhole in the front yard, flip cup in the back. I see salt on the table, they're bringing out the limes, and I see Terramana Blanco, it's tequila time. I'm singing, blue skies, oh well, don't go away. We're gonna sit in the sun, lay back, enjoying the day. Beer in my hand, another one on the way. You tell them worries to leave and them good times to stay. Well, you bring your cups and I'll bring my bags. Oh, we got cornhole in the front yard, flip cup in the back. I see salt on the table, they're bringing out the limes, and I see Terramana Blanco, it's tequila time. I'm singing, blue skies, oh well, don't go away. We're gonna sit in the sun, lay back, enjoying the day. Beer in my hand, another one on the way. You tell them worries to leave and them good times to stay. Well, you bring your cups and I'll bring my bags. Oh, we got cornhole in the front yard, flip cup in the back. I see salt on the table, they're bringing out the limes, and I see Terramana Blanco, it's tequila time. I'm singing, blue skies, oh well, don't go away. We're gonna sit in the sun, lay back, enjoying the day. Beer in my hand, another one on the way. You tell them worries to leave and them good times to stay. Well, you bring your cups and I'll bring my bags. Oh, we got cornhole in the front yard, flip cup in the back. I see salt on the table, they're bringing out the limes, and I see Terramana Blanco, it's tequila time. I'm singing.
So to recap, the F601A is a Class A discrete microphone preamp in a 500 series module. It has the 78 dB gain on tap. It's a solid state with a input transformer made by Lundell, the 1578XL, the 1517 output transformer that you could select on and off separately, and they run their own discrete path, as well as having the polarity, which is a phase in flip, the low cut at 60 hertz, which is a gentle slope, the phantom power, as well as the impedance. The impedance goes from 1000 to 300, and it's great for the ribbon microphones if you have any, or if you have any certain dynamic microphones that have that requirement, it is there ready for you to use. Now, also you have the DI, which is just insanely awesome. I have a rack-mounted Avalon U5 that I no longer use because this is my new DI. Now, let's kind of go into my personal preferences and opinions. On the drums, it is just awesome. All the transients cut through. It gives you a nice warm sound, and it really helps with the harshness, and it tames those cymbals. For the bass, you have that output transformer that I used. Now, I have it completely engaged whenever I do bass, just because I love that low end. I love how it just cleans it up. It gives it a rounded tone, and it's really silky. For guitars, I leave it completely neutral, no transformer. For vocals, it really just depends on the microphone selection, the vocalist, and the day it is. Honestly, it's very hyper dependent. Now, I do have some harsher microphones that require more precision. So in this case, like my vocal mic that I've been using lately to track, it is a little more harsh. It's a little more brittle on the top end. So actually, by engaging both the input and output transformer, you could actually reduce those and get much sweeter sound and a much more soothing sound. Now, I mentioned that because it really does work, and it works so much so that
even this guy, my UA6176, which is the 610 tube pre and the 1176 compressor, are no longer in my rack. It's that good. I have not had a problem from day one. I've stress tested this unit, and to be quite honest, the 8 modules that we're going over here in this video review series, I've been using daily for the last 3.5 months. I have yet to find problems in them, and they just work day in and day out. Now, I will give you a quick disclaimer. The F609, which is the tube microphone preamp I am using currently, you should turn off. Anything with a tube circuit that Fredenstein makes offers a bypass. So in this instance, my 609 right here and the 602, you could actually select them. And just like that, they're bypassed. Now with the F601A in particular, you don't have to worry about that. It is not a tube circuit, it is solid state. And quite frankly, it does 95% of the things I want it to do every single time. I've yet to have a problem with it. I also recorded piano on it. I just had the input transformer selected. I didn't need an output transformer because the piano I have is a bit on the mid-rangey side, and not knowing how to play it well, I run into that issue where I could just muddy it up if I don't know what I'm doing, which is most of the time on piano. Now, finally, we have the last kind of thoughts. The F601A is just a great microphone preamp. If you have a 500 series rack, throw it in there, give it a try. It's really affordable when you look at other microphone preamps in this range. But if you do have a Bento series rack that's digital, you could actually recall the settings, because everything that is Fredenstein Gold series has recallability with non-volatile memory in each rack module, as well as the digital series where it offers the recall. So if you notice on the 4 lights that are kind of behind me on my left, those are all Gold series, and every time you turn it off and you turn it back on, it recalls everything. You don't have to worry about the selection, you don't have to worry about anything. All of these illustrated or illuminated lights, these are settings, these are parameters. When you turn it off and you turn it back on, if it were any other unit, it would not be able to recall it instantly like that. Now, a great feature that is made in this is that the phantom power, or the P48, which is on the display, it will automatically turn off if you turn off the Bento rack. And this is great because if you turn on the unit, and you do not have a microphone connected, and you then connect it with phantom power, you will blow out that microphone. This is a great feature that Fredenstein does with this F601A, and I sometimes forget to turn it back on, but guess what? I'd rather have to turn it back on than have to buy a new microphone. That being said, my closing thoughts once again is that you cannot go wrong with this module. If you're looking for a clean but completely modular unit, this is the one to buy. And the F609, which I'm speaking into, covers that other 5% I didn't mention, because I want a tube microphone preamp, and it offers coloration with the 2 tubes that I will be going over in the next video. That being said, if you have a reseller like Sweetwater Sound, they will certainly hook you up with the Fredenstein product series. Music Max distribution also covers that if Sweetwater, for whatever reason, in the United States or North America alone, cannot provide that for you. Any other music retailer in the world, if they don't have it, request it. It is definitely something you want to try out. And it is one of my favorites after using it for months on end. And this is coming from having this UA6176, the Focusrite Claret series preamps. I use my console preamps. I have 1073 clones, and the F601A just completely obliterates every single one of these every single time I plug it in. So much so I don't even turn on my non-Fredenstein products. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful day. And thank you once again for watching this video series. Up next is the F609.